Hi, my name's Sian Fan and I'm an interdisciplinary artist. I work with movement, the female body and technology to explore embodiment, spirituality and human experience in the digital age. Drawing on my background in contemporary and aerial dance, I suspend, fragment and augment the body via choreography and digital techniques. I work across mediums, combining the physical and the virtual, through sculpture, performance, moving image, animation and virtual and augmented reality, and seek to create works that heighten our awareness of the experience of being online. I'm fascinated by virtual identities and in how we construct virtual bodies to exist in hyperspace beyond our physical bodies. Overall, I'm concerned with the experience of being human in our increasingly digitized and hyper-connected world, and hope to discover new ways for us to coexist with technology. Today, I'm going to share with you how I use green screen in my practice. So my first example is a work from 2016, which is quite a long time ago now, and this was my first real exploration into experimenting with green screen. The work is called Deathlessness and was made as part of a residency at First Sight Gallery in Colchester. The work itself was made in response to their Andy Warhol exhibition, so I was working a lot with the idea of seeking immortality through the reproduction of my own image. The work essentially is a holographic video, using a lot of black within the video itself to make the figure appear to be hovering in space. This gave a kind of ghostly feel, but also referenced some of Warhol's portraits, where they really focus on the face in isolation. As you can see, there was a lot of layering of footage and bodies, as well as this large cutout section in the head. When installed, it looked pretty effective. The hologram was cast onto a transparent sheet of perspex, so you could see the space behind it, so I think it looked pretty cool. In terms of the setup, it was actually very low tech. It was at a time when I had pretty much no production budget, and as you can see, it was just an old TV on a few bits of wood and a sheet of plastic. As for the green screen element, that was just as low tech. It was just a piece of paper, some masking tape and some acrylic paint. But despite the very DIY process, this enabled me to key out a section of the face and turn the body into a material that I could manipulate digitally. The hologram format was also quite forgiving because it only showed the really bright elements of the video, meaning that the grainy keying I'd done wasn't visible in the final install. On the other end of the spectrum is this next work, Bloom. So Bloom was my first proper commission. I had this grand idea to combine live aerial footage with CGI and was lucky enough to be commissioned by Channel 4's Random Acts to make it happen. It was my first time working with a semi-real budget, so it meant that I could hire a space, equipment and work with some cool collaborators. Because of the size of the aerial rig, we needed a space with a big enough footprint and a tall green screen wall. We actually ended up shooting at Bruce's studio in Suffolk. They had this really big warehouse space, which was pretty much perfect for the shoots, apart from the fact that it was wintertime and it was absolutely freezing. Anyway, the green screen tech here was perfect for placing the live body into a virtual space. We ended up using keying to remove the background and a bit of rotoscoping to remove the cable. Rotoscoping is just a fancy word for frame-by-frame editing. It's really time-consuming, but it allows you to cut out and isolate fiddly areas of footage. This was my first time working with 3D animation and with animators, which was a real learning curve, but it was really exciting to see my figure interact with these digital elements. So this is a quick example of how I might key out a backdrop if I was editing a still. You can see I've got a behind the scenes shot from Bloom here, and I'll start by taking my layer and then using select color range. I've got it at 95 tolerance, which will help me just select the majority of the green. You can see here the white section is what's been selected. Click OK, then just click delete. You can see it's quite quickly cut out the majority of the sections, and then just manually, super quickly, getting rid of all of this excess that's around the shot. Because it's a behind the scenes image, it has got all the kind of set and the extra camera equipment behind it, which you wouldn't normally have if it was a proper frame shot. So super roughly, that's my figure. I can change her kind of size and scale, and then I can stick in a variety of different backdrops. And that's the kind of beauty of using green screen as a technique, is that you can instantly transport your body into all of these different settings. And then you can even layer things over the top of the body like this, change the scale, and it can be kind of engulfing your body. Or you can change the orientation. So suddenly it looks more like my body's free falling through space. And it's really transformed the way that the body appears just by being able to manipulate it digitally and move it through our digital environment. Because of my interest in the body and technology, I often seek to combine the body with digital materials. Green screen really lends itself to this because it allows me to transport the body into a digital or abstract space. And the very last thing I'll share are some lockdown experiments that I was messing around with at home over the summer. These shots were super simple with a green screen sheet and an iPhone. I used one of those filters to make my face look kind of hyper-real. I then edited out the background using Photoshop, cut out the head and the hair, added a gradient backdrop, some elements around them, and did a bit of a colour grade. Once I'd done this, I took the layers into After Effects and did a bit of animating to make a kind of chill, slow-mo, meditative little video. There are obviously limitations depending on your setup. For example, here I could only record head and shoulders, but with different facilities, there's all this potential to shoot full body, to incorporate movement, depth, and multiple performers, and just to create something more complex and detailed. I think green screen is super cool because it gives this scope to create digital performances that transcend physical space and allow for opportunities to perform in virtual space, which for me particularly is a really exciting new arena.